It's 6 a.m. and my alarm just went off. The sun is coming up over the ridge. I need to get up. I unlock my phone to check the upcoming elevation changes for the day. It's too light out to fall back asleep, and I'm too cold to get out of my sleeping bag. I try to get dressed inside the bag to avoid being cold, but my socks froze overnight, so I'm cold anyway. I might as well get some chores done if I'm going to be lazy and stay in bed. I run a comb through my hair and bits of dirt fall out. I wipe off my face. Half of my freckles were just dirt. I can't remember the last time I took a shower. Pop-Tarts, peanut M&Ms, and trail mix. Breakfast of champions. The hikers in the surrounding tents have either already left or are packing up now. I should probably get up. It's 7:15. I wanted to be on trail by now, but 8 a.m. wouldn't be too bad. Just means an extra hour of hiking tonight instead. A marmot runs by as the birds sing to each other. The fluttering of Tyvek ground sheets and the clanking of tent stakes means my neighbors must be almost ready to leave. The sun is now high enough to warm up my tent. It'll be easier to get going once I can feel my fingers again. Today my closest friends are climbing Mount Whitney, but I have a box to pick up in Independence, so I can't take that much time off. I need to get to the post office by tomorrow. I realize I've only known my closest friends for 5 days. They say a day on trail is like a month in the real world, and I understand that now more than ever. It feels like months since I've heard from someone back home, even though it's only been 7 days. It's 8 a.m. and I've finally packed up. I was able to crush 10 miles before lunch yesterday, even though I left at 10 a.m., so I'm not too worried. But today I'll go over the highest pass on trail. Forester Pass is at 13,200 feet, and I have to gain over 4,000 feet in the next 13 miles to get there. Yesterday I gained 3,000 feet over the whole day, but it was mixed with downhill and a lot of flat ground. Time to eat some leftover mashed potatoes to get some good calories in before starting. Gross. I hike less than 1/10 of a mile before I have to cross a river. It's 8:30 and my shoes are already soaked in ice water. Welcome to the Sierras. At least the views are worth it. Then the headphones go in and the mental math starts. If I go X miles by Y time, I'll be in camp by Z. If each song is about 4 minutes long, then I can have lunch after X songs. It occupies my mind enough to drown out some of the pain in my legs from the 16 miles that I did yesterday. Occasionally I pass by some weekend hikers and they stare at me in awe as I fly by them. It's a nice little ego boost, at least until another thru hiker flies by me. It's noon and I'm starving. The trail mix I've been snacking on just isn't enough. I find a nice rock to sit on, air my feet, dry my socks, just got wet again, and I chat with other hikers. I could be alone if I really wanted to be, but sometimes it's nice to have some company. I throw chunks of cheese and some kind of cured meat onto a tortilla and practically inhale it. I eat some more trail mix too. I need as many calories as I can get. I check the half-mile app again and start laughing. I'm so much closer to the top than I thought. I gave myself 3 hours to do the last 5 miles to the top, but looking at the elevation, it should take me about 2 hours tops. Actually only 4 miles away. I might as well take a long lunch break. I feel myself getting stronger every day. Some days my muscles are screaming and it takes all of my willpower not to scream back at them. And some days I really hate the trail. Mostly I love being out here, and there's nowhere I'd rather be. Of all the places I've tried, this is the closest to belonging I've felt. I reach the top of Forester and feel on top of the world. I meet a few people at the top who want to hike down with me, which is good since it's so snowy and could be dangerous alone. The final 5 miles are a breeze, and in no time I'm in camp with my new friends. We pass the time in the pipe, talking and watching deer as I set up my sleep system, and eventually we all fall asleep when the sun goes down around 8:30. Overall, a successful day filled with 18 miles and lots of amazing views. I'm lost. His dark, bloodshot eyes have been staring back into mine for the last 5 minutes. Or has it been an hour? We're both stoned out of our minds. The hiker likes to smoke first thing in the morning. He says it helps him prepare for the day and hike further. My legs feel full of lead and I've lost track of where I put my arms again. I'm lost in the trance of his deep gaze. The eye contact is broken with a song change. We've been hiking together long enough to have an established rule. If one of us starts playing Dark Side of the Moon on our phone speaker, then we both have to wait to leave camp until it's over. You can't just stop Dark Side of the Moon in the middle. That's sacrilege. He's always the first one to break us into the morning. I don't like getting out of my sleeping bag so early. It's too cold. But I want to be the perfect through hiker. I need to be the best at this. And the hiker is an expert, so I follow his lead. He's been teaching me that all kinds of things that I thought were important aren't actually important. He didn't filter his water on the entire Arizona Trail. He says that hiking filters are a gimmick cash grab. They only filter out the floaties, not the viruses. He also just rinses out his cook pot and leaves the leftover food to dry inside it. He says it's not worth the time to clean it out every meal. The hiker rolls up another joint. Smoke 2 joints in the morning, smoke 2 joints at night. His sing-song voice makes me smile. I could go for another joint. It's too cold to get up anyway. He has such a confident swagger about him. His crooked grin charmingly makes up for the yellow teeth behind it. He does not give a fuck about anything. I want to be just like him. Maybe if I do everything he does, I can learn the secret and I can become cool and confident. I won't have to be so anxious anymore. We shove things into our packs as we smoke. The marijuana makes it harder to focus on packing properly. My mind hasn't stopped talking in days. Things are getting bad again. I just can't shut up in my fucking head. My hands are moving awkwardly. I need to suck in my stomach. I don't want him to catch me from an unflattering angle. The hiker finishes packing before I do. His eyes glance over the tent I'm packing up alone, and he says he'll wait for me at the top of the pass. With a spellbinding wink, he reminds me that we're just 2 solo hikers hiking our own hike. If we happen to camp together, then we do. I think of this as an endearing challenge. I like the idea of just being a solo hiker, and especially one who can keep up with a seasoned veteran. Knowing he'll be waiting at the top of the pass is the only thing that gets me moving. I can't leave people waiting around forever. I start walking, but can't seem to get up to speed. Every step takes tremendous effort, and usually I can get into the rhythm and forget that I'm walking. I listen to music to try to get myself in the zone, but nothing seems to do the trick. Everything aches and I feel miserable. The last few miles to the base of the pass take everything out of me, and looking up at the switchbacks causes me to completely break down. I lean forward, hands on my knees, and sob. I'm never gonna make it to the top of this fucking pass. The hiker is so much stronger than I am. I'll never be able to catch up. I'm not good enough for him. I'm slow and stupid, and I never should have come on this fucking death trap. I wipe my face and vaguely wonder whether it's sweat, tears, or snot on my sleeve. The answer doesn't matter much anyway. Maybe if I push myself past my breaking point, I can force my heart to give out, and I can finally be done. The switchbacks feel like an eternity. I can see the hiker already at the top of the pass. These passes mean nothing to him. He makes sure to remind me of that several times every day. His This is nowhere near as hard as the Arizona Trail. There's water everywhere. By the time I reach the top, I'm in a fog and I can only think about sitting down. He already has a joint rolled, but is having a difficult time lighting it in the wind. I eat a sleeve of crackers with cheese and summer sausage and nearly drown myself with my water bottle, absent-mindedly shoving the food into my face between gulps. The hiker reminds me with a grin that this ain't shit. His trail family on his first PCT hike had all hiked the Appalachian Trail beforehand. He had to push hard to get past his limits to keep up with them. I know that I can do the same to keep up with him. I just need to be a better hiker. The two of us start to get cold, so it must be time to start moving again. I scramble down the rocks and snow to try to make my way back to the trail. Neither of us can seem to find the best route. The rocks are unstable. My feet slip. I freeze. I slide forward. I catch myself on a trekking pole. I feel the world pulsing around me. I can see my death. Every cell in my body is screaming. We move. I can't speak. Eventually we make our way down to a creek and stop for lunch. I break down again and pour my heart out. The high Sierra will take a toll on a person. The hiker laughs and tells me to trust him. This will be my favorite day on trail. I try to laugh through tears and exhaustion. There's no way this day could be anywhere near my favorite one. Another hiker shows up. He can tell I'm having a rough time, but I've collected myself enough that I think he won't notice just how bad things are for me. I journal on my phone, hoping it'll make me feel better. Our new friend joins us and we continue forward. And then the beauty sets in. As I round the next bend, I get a clear view of Lake Marjorie, with the gorgeous mountains behind it and the rivers flowing in and out of it. As I descend further down off the pass, I find more and more breathtaking views, and my pace increases. The three of us fly down the next few miles and stop dead in our tracks. The golden staircase lies beneath us, and we feel like we can see forever. Hikers on the John Muir Trail slowly trek up the staircase, but we're headed north and already climbed that elevation earlier today. It's time for us to go down. I practically run down each switchback, passing the same waterfall at least half a dozen times. The three of us make it at least 7 miles before taking another break. I am on fire. We all down more of our snacks and candy as we sit next to a creek and talk about the day. I want to do at least 3 more miles for the day, but it's another uphill, so I budget myself some extra time. The last few miles feel longer than they are, but eventually everyone gets to camp and settles in for the night. I didn't believe him, but the hiker was right. Today did end up being an amazing day. I journal more on my phone, cuddled up in my sleeping bag next to the hiker. I try to keep things as mom-friendly as possible and end on a very positive note so she doesn't get worried. Part of me wants to rip up my old writing because I was so wrong about so many things at the beginning of my thru-hiking career. But the rest of me thinks I should leave it as a monument to how I used to see hiking, as an example of how things change after your first 2,000 miles. It's raining again. It was raining when I fell asleep. It hardly stopped throughout the night. I roll over to try to get some more sleep, but it's no use. I wake up with the sun now. I eat a honey bun and look at the elevation profile and waypoints for the day before playing some games on my phone. It's 8 a.m. and the hiker points out that the tent is sitting in a giant puddle of water. Overnight, the rainwater accumulated, and now the tent is partially submerged. My shirt was drenched in sweat when I fell asleep, and the humidity kept it from drying overnight. I put it on as fast as I can before wiggling on a pair of sopping wet shorts that soaked up water through the tent floor. After putting on my drenched hat, I pack up my few belongings and hop out of the tent. It stopped raining, but the trees shake water onto my head as I frantically pack up the tent. Hiking isn't as hard as it used to be for me. Between the Pacific Crest Trail, the Colorado Trail, part of this trail, I have over 3,000 miles under my belt now. I put some snacks into my hip belt pockets and walk into the mist at 3 miles an hour to start the day. The first 2 miles are uphill, foggy, rainy, windy, and exposed. But I've been through worse. I reminisce about the way the wind used to whip my face in Colorado so hard that I had to brace myself to not fall over. The winds on the AT feel like a soft breeze in comparison. I chuckle as I pass another hiker huddled under a rock. It's not like this wind is going anywhere. Might as well get through the exposed part quickly. Soon enough, I'm at the top of the hill. I spin around and shout to the hiker in excitement. He nods, and we keep walking. Sometimes we walk together, sometimes I get ahead or behind a little. I'm not afraid of being left behind anymore. I know I'm strong enough to catch up. As we head back under the tree cover, we pass more hikers. Hardly anyone out here keeps our pace yet. After another 5 miles, it's 11 a.m. I'm about ready for a break. We walk up to a highway and decide to take our break in town. The hiker stands behind me and we stick out our thumbs. Within 10 minutes, a teenager in a Mercedes pulls over and asks where we're headed. Wherever has the best burger in town, I tell him. I apologize as I track mud into his clean car, and he just laughs and says it doesn't matter. He drives us to Bob's Dairyland, a burger shop with a farm behind it. As I sit there in the burger shop, the weight of everything starts to close in around me. I journal on my phone, try to explain why exactly I'm not happy. What's wrong? I should be happy. I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything that should make me happy. But I don't know what to do. I don't like the AT. I don't like it here. I keep getting sick. The hiker is always on edge. We're having a really tough time making friends. I sit inside watching the rain come down. I message my family to let them know that I'm okay, even though they have the GPS tracker. I devour my cheeseburger and fries faster than humanly possible and order another one to go. After sitting inside and drying off for a few hours, taking full advantage of the free soda refills and charging my phone, I head back to the road with the hiker and wait for a car to pass. Before the first car even drives by, a man shouts from the gas station, offering us a ride back to the trail. After the nice 3-hour lunch break, it's now 2 p.m. and time to get back to hiking. I throw in some earbuds to play music and drown out the sounds of the highway echoing in the canyon. After about a half mile or so, I start to overheat in my raincoat and take it off. This is mostly mist and a light drizzle at this point. I cruise up a short 2-mile climb to a meadow, then drop down to a cemetery before crossing a paved road with a church next to the trail. I jokingly shout to the hiker that I thought this was supposed to be a nature trail. He laughs and rolls his eyes, and he makes the same joke at the next road. If I'm at the cemetery, that means I've gone 3 miles past the highway. I looked at the waypoints this morning, and I must be 2 miles from Jones Falls, 5 miles from the next shelter. It looks about the same here as it did in Georgia. I switch to an audiobook and keep walking. I reach the turnoff for Jones Falls and the rain starts to pick up a little more. I look down at the 400-mile marker and do a little happy dance before continuing on. I don't feel like taking a wet break in the rain, so I walk past the turnoff for the falls. There's another waterfall before the shelter anyway. The rain is mostly being caught by the trees. I don't put on my raincoat. It's 80 degrees and so humid that the rain shaking off the broadleaf trees is refreshing when it does hit. I start passing hikers again, recognizing the people I saw earlier today that were huddled by the roadside. I try to crack a joke with a big smile. What beautiful weather we're having. I wearily step aside. They can tell that I want to pass. I feel embarrassed as I try to blow by and start running up the next hill, but I want to get to the next shelter soon because it's getting rained on with no coat on. I walk up to Mountaineer Falls and question what makes a mountain a mountain. These feel like hills compared to the ones that I used to hike. Can one be a mountaineer if they climb hills in the winter? How treacherous is mountaineering out here compared to Washington or Colorado? I smile at the hikers taking a break in the rain, snap a few pictures of the falls, and continue walking. When I roll up to the shelter, another hiker pops out. I give an embarrassed laugh and a shrug about how I was able to catch up so fast after going into town. I don't feel very fast. It's 5 p.m. and people are already filling up the shelter. I don't want to stop this early. I look at my waypoints again and decide on another spot 3 miles away for after our break. And the hiker and I sit around and socialize for a bit, but it's hard to relate to a lot of the people. They want to complain about only doing 8 miles today instead of 10, and I bite my tongue. Telling them that I did 8 miles after 2 p.m. today would be mean. Telling them that if they didn't stop hiking at 4 or 5 p.m. they could make their goal would be mean. You hear start dates thrown around and get self-conscious. The few guys in the corner started in mid-April. The one sitting on the bench up front started April 3rd. The hiker to your right says she started April 20th. I quietly mumble May 3rd and people around stare wide-eyed. I quickly say, see you in town tomorrow, and keep hiking. The final 3 miles to camp, I chat with the hiker about how we can't wait to find more people going our pace. Our other friends stayed at a hostel last night, so we might not see them for a few days. Most of our new friends get left behind within a few days. I can still hear the cars on the highway by the time I get to camp. The AT parallels the highway for a while, and it's hard to drown it out. We pick the tent site closest to the brook to try to at least disguise the noise. After setting up camp and getting into my sleeping bag, it starts raining again. The tent is still pretty damp, but my sleeping bag keeps me elevated enough that I don't really notice. I eat some of the cheeseburger I took to go and save the rest for breakfast. Only 13 miles to get to town tomorrow. I did 18.6 miles today, so I should be able to get those 13 done by 2 p.m. I stretch for a bit and listen to my audiobook and try to fall asleep. Hindsight is one hell of a drug. It's so interesting going back through and reading these again. I like to go back through and reread my old journals at least, once a year, at least once a year. And part of that is seeing everything through new lenses and new lights every time, and the things that I would think a year later are completely different from the things that I think now. And I'm sure that it's going to be completely different from the things that I think, in 10 years. So, but in this moment right now, listening to some of this stuff that I used to say, I just want to reach back through the sands of time and just knock her on the head. Be like, well, of course you don't have any friends. You're kind of an insufferable elitist asshole. Of course people don't like talking to you. You keep talking about how you, like, oh my goodness, I kept going on and on about just how miserable I was because I had no friends, to these people who could have been my friend. Like, or just even, I was so wrapped up in the concept of I need friends that I forgot that to even build a friendship, part of that is just time. It's just time. I actually, honestly, that's been it's been a huge theme, a recurring theme through my whole life. Is I don't like waiting. And I think that that's been an interesting thing that I've been exploring, whether consciously or not, through my art, and just through my actions in life. I've been I was very caught up in this idea of like, I need to do everything right now. That sometimes I forgot, just like, if you give people time and let them come to you, sometimes that's better. And a lot of it too was I needed to give myself time to grow and mature to a point that I even could be a good friend, and that I could be, because at this point, or at that point, both in 2016 and 2018, I was so wrapped up in my internal monologue that I wasn't really listening to people. I would just listen for little cues and stuff here and there, and then jump to a conclusion and bulldoze over them in the conversation. And I got away with it for a long time, or just not got away with it, but I just was never called out on it because I didn't have to be. I was able to just run. It hasn't really been until like just getting older and facing the truths of, like 99% of my issues were self-inflicted. And like it was, I have to be cognizant. I have to be aware. A lot of it was self-inflicted, but in the context of what I thought was right at the time. Based on all the information that I had available to me and all of the experiences that I had and all of things that I'd been told, things that I'd read, just the culmination of everything that I had been exposed to mentally, led to me being an insufferable asshole for a long time. And I'm still working on that, that's all we can ever do. Self-awareness is the first step of change and growth and being a better person and all that. It's just so tough because looking back, I wasn't the like malicious type of asshole. I wasn't the type of person to like go out and try to pick fights with people or like, and oh my gosh, if I ever thought that I upset somebody, it would weigh on me just so heavily that it ended up making me an even more disconnected person. So, I don't know, maybe asshole's not the right term, but I was pretty insufferable. And I'm sure that 5 years from now I'm going to look back at me right now and be like, oh my God, what are you doing? Why are you thinking these things and saying these things to people? But, I don't know. This is my little moment of clarity today on November 21st, 2022. This cameras stacked on top of my coffee and some other random stuff I had on my desk, because I knew that if I waited to go find the tripod and get the lights set up and get things looking all perfect, and it wouldn't really be a moment of clarity anymore. It would just be a staged moment of perfection. And I try to bring the clarity into that, but I don't know. This is the closest to just my consciousness escaping my body and being digitized through video is going to get, I think. So, this is where I'm at today. I'm gonna rewatch this again. I've been watching it over and over to find little things to fix and audio stuff, and you never really know when something's done until it's done. And there's so much that I could keep doing with it that, like, I don't know. I don't at the same time I don't want it to, I don't know. I want it to be a representation of the way that I view it right now. And some of that is with the editing skills that I have right now. And yeah, I signed up for Skillshare, and I've like considered hiring people or whatever, but that's not what I want to do. I'm just trying to follow the creative energy, and I just felt really inspired to put it to, I don't know, to share it in this way this time. As we get closer to New Year, I'm going to be getting a lot more navel-gazy, introspective and all that. New Year is always when I like to go back through and do a complete read of the past, since I've been journaling, and I have a few things from when I was a kid and a few things from when I was a teenager, and a lot of stuff from early 20s. And I like to think that I'm getting better. So that's all we can ever do. I don't know. I still struggle with the question of, did you enjoy your through hikes? That's such a big enjoy. Like, what? I was so focused on the concept of, am I happy? I'm trying to be happy. I want to be happy. Even from, you guys saw it with, if you've watched my my video about when I even decided to hike the PCT, that moment that just giving up, and then it led to so much that was also, I don't know, giving up in different ways, and just losing control in different ways, but also getting stronger for it, and stronger from all of the strife that I was putting myself through. And yeah, it was self-inflicted. So it's hard to even say oh yeah, it was this really difficult, I don't know, it's difficult in the way that a lot of things, yeah. I have a lot of thoughts, that's all I'm trying to say. I still have a lot of thoughts. And, I'd have to forgive past me for being so caught up in words and concepts that I would forget actions and reality. You know, just things that were happening around me. I was so worked up in my head that, you know, I mean, of course you're gonna feel like shit if you woke up in the rain and you walked a bunch of miles past people that you were thinking of yourself as better than, even though I would try to frame it to myself, oh, I'm not better than them, I'm just this, I'm that. But like it is elitism to be sitting there and thinking these, well, expressing these thoughts. Because, I mean, yeah, just having the thought, like, we can't control the thoughts that we have, but I would tell people, I would tell people, oh, I'm having such a tough time finding friends out here because nobody can seem to keep up with me. It's like, that's not true. There were people who were keeping up with us. Yeah, we didn't see them every day, but, like, once I gave it a few weeks, I realized, oh, shit, these people that I've been complaining kind of about too, you know, like, oh, I cringe. But that's growth. It's the inner pain of growth. Sitting with this feeling. I'm sure I'm gonna look back on this part too. I know, I keep saying that over and over. This is what I look like under harsh lighting at 8:46 a.m. I left my hairbrush in the car, so I did the finger comb. I forget things places a lot. I'm not a very organized person, no matter how much I try to be. I am really enjoying, though, this, I don't know. I'm trying to find the words for it in my head with that, and then like I also have all the little mental voices that, you know, people from Reddit have implanted in there over the years between Reddit and, geez, Kat, what are you doing back there? Over the years, all these comments and messages, and, you know, people say, oh, don't read the comments, but at the same time, like, I had to. It was my job. It was my income. I was making money based off of what people thought about me. So of course I'm gonna get those little things in my head. It's not even like self-doubt at a certain point. It's like the algorithmic driven doubt. Yeah. Anyways, I'm enjoying this opportunity now to, like, just put myself out there. Because I don't have the self-doubt anymore. I guess that's what I'm trying to get around to saying, is all of those little voices, I know whose they are now. And they're not mine. And I don't have to listen to them. And I know that I'm hot. I'm attractive in the conventional U.S. Western white ideological, I don't know. I know that enough people found me attractive that I was able to retire. So, you know, fuck it. I don't care about looking attractive on camera anymore. This is just, you know, I'm just gonna share my stories, and if you like it, then great, and if not, then fuck off. I don't care. I don't care. It's so freeing. Just so long. So long. Because it doesn't go away when I tell it doesn't go away when I tell myself it's just work. You know? All the everything. And a lot of it, it's not even... Some of it's self-inflicted too, of researching the best strategies, doing so much research on how to get the best lighting and angling, and not just that, the best personality, the best way of talking and presenting myself, and the best way to look happy and be peppy and draw people in. Like, it didn't just start with Reddit. It goes back to my, the retail shit. I made a video on that. I used to just give and give and give and give and try to just... Because I wanted to be the best at... I don't know. My job. And I look back on, like, everything I gave that job. And, like, yeah, some of the coworkers that I used to have remember me as a, I don't know, shell of a person that I was at the time. I helped a lot of people. I don't know. I don't really know how to end these things. I used to end with some kind of cheesy advice. I don't know. I need to be kind to myself too. It's not cheesy advice. It's... I don't know. Stuff that I was trying to tell myself. At the end of the day, like, we don't like being told what to do. I wouldn't listen to some girl telling me what to do either. I feel very content, at peace. I'm not looking anymore. For a long time I was really, like, searching for something. And I found it. I guess that's where I'll leave this then. I'll do another one in a few years. Watch this again and roast myself or something. I don't know. I hope I do. you know? Because future me, if I'm all ready, if this is who I am now, gotta look out for future me. I'm gonna go play with my cat.